Hello and welcome back to yet another positively dedicant episode of Smart Talks by Lincoln University of Business Management. My name is Aman Iqbal Ibrahim and I'll be your host for today's episode. With project deadlines, managerial hierarchies, and product development hassles, it tends to be easy to miss out on the humanity side of things. Emotional intelligence is slowly being recognized as an essential tool in a leader's toolkit. And who better to explain this to us than the one and only Dr. Muna Zogheb, a seasoned professional with 19 years in banking and IT, holding dual degrees in computer science and an MBA, along with a PhD in management science. As the founder of We Grow Minds, she excels in professional training, notably establishing a PMO at Middle East Airlines and contributing over a decade to academia. Dr. Muna, also a PwC Academy certified senior trainer, is recognized as an international speaker, entrepreneur, and coach, bridging the gap between academia and business demands through We Grow Minds. Thank you for being with us today, ma'am.
Thank you, Aman, for
So,
having me.
how are you doing today?
I'm good. The weather is amazing in Dubai.
It's getting
I
much
like
better.
it. Yeah.
Finally, yes.
Finally, exactly.
So, starting off, can you explain what we mean by design thinking and how it is related to emotional intelligence?
Actually, design thinking is not only a process, it's a continuous process. It's an iterative process where you put the user at the center of what you do. And it starts by showing some empathy with the user, putting yourself in the shoes of the user, what they really, really wanted. Because sometimes, coming from a background of computer science and a programmer, sometimes we believe we know what the user wants, rather than really listening to the user, putting themselves in their shoes and trying to understand their pain and what's the problem so that we are able to solve it. So you start by showing some empathy, trying to put your finger on the main pain points that the user is facing and try to better define the problem that they are facing or whatever opportunity they want to leverage on. And then with this step comes another thing, which is ideation. And this ideation, you don't just do it alone. You do it as well with the user in mind. So even the user is welcome to share ideas, how they can contribute to the problem solving. And then, of course, having things on paper is different than actually seeing the actual product or service or result. So when the user sees a prototype, which is prototyping phase, they will actually have an idea what would be the end result, and they will be engaged in the process. And all these different resistance that the user might face, for example, when you bring them the product and it's not up to their expectation, all of this will be eliminated. And after that, you do testing over and over again. And as we said, it's an iterative process. So comes, you go back again. You try to show empathy again and try to define more and more better the problem and come up with solutions, prototyping and testing. And how it is related to emotional intelligence, because, I would summarize it because, there are hundreds of definitions of emotional intelligence, but it is mainly about directing or channeling all the anger, all the frustration of the user in a way to better understand why they are having this reaction, why they are acting the way they are acting. And by doing this, you try to better understand them as well, putting yourself in the shoes of the user. And this, I think, it is intertwined with design thinking because emotional intelligence is about understanding your emotions and the emotions of others and bridge it into having better results while eliminating all negativity, focusing only on the positive aspect.
Absolutely. Amazing, absolutely. It's a very unique take on it. And absolutely, you're very right on that.
Thank you.
To understand its importance and influence, how does design thinking impact the object management process, particularly
You mean
I'm
product
sorry, I'm so sorry,
management?
the project management
Actually, it
process,
impacts
yes.
both product management and project management. Because, in project management, at the end of the day, the end result would be either you're delivering a product or a service for the user or the customer or a result. Like, for example, COVID-19. It started as a research. And this is by itself was a huge project, knowing why humanity is like people dying and so on, the root cause of what's happening. So this by itself, you're showing a result, a report, and then comes the product in terms of vaccine and so on. This, among so many other examples that show that any project could deliver either a research result or a service for whatever customers and a product. And having design thinking in the middle of that whole process, it means we are together delivering the product, the result, or the service by putting the user at the center of what we do. As you mentioned in your introduction, that I really liked, many projects fail, and many research have been done into why projects do fail. There are so many reasons, whether it's like no top management support, disengagement of stakeholders, not finishing on time within budget, all these constraints, the cliche that we know about. And at the end of the day, statistics show that many projects fail because of the misalignment between what the user expected and what they really wanted. So this misalignment could be solved by implementing design thinking at the heart of what we do.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah, but because, as a user, they are the most people that know what the requirements are, what they really want. Yes, as a project manager or a product manager, you can suggest, you can recommend. Even sometimes you play psychology. You can talk to the user if they don't have this awareness session of what they really wanted and let them believe they came up with a solution. But the only, by itself, engaging them in the process is really helping a lot in the success of projects and product development.
Would you say enabling the belief that, in this case, the customer, the client is always right in a way?
Somehow, yes. As a consultant, if I want to put the lenses of a consultant, your role is to give recommendations. You do assessment of what they are doing, facing, and so on. You try to share with the user what's going to be, what's the as-is process, changing maybe the way of working, which might require cultural change. But at the end of the day, the user needs to be engaged, whether they are having high maturity level or low maturity level. The main thing is to actually engage the user. And not only this, if they are not aware, increase their maturity. As simple as that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. And now, as we've been speaking about the user, with the focus on the user and meeting customer expectations, how does the user-centric approach of design thinking enhance product development? If you could just go into more detail on that.
Exactly. So any product, you have to do a market research, what's trending. You have to do a SWOT analysis. I call it SWOT sometimes. I replace threats with challenges. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you have a product to be launched, the main challenge would be the time to market. Users, they want things in a fast way. They just want to make money, right? Most of the time, you're doing all these projects, all the IT support. Everything goes around the business people who will make money and who will add value to the organization. So when you want to create a certain product, this product should be a blend of, I'm talking from the lenses either of a project manager or a consultant, or even as a user. They really want this product to match their identity, branding, needs, pain points, solving everything, and creating a niche and a competitive advantage. And this strategy of differentiation, whether it will be a low-cost product or a differentiated high-quality product, it should be aligned with the strategy of the organization. And how can we do that if we don't put the user at the center of what we do? So everything evolves around the user himself or herself. So the organization, when they have these people, who are building their products and they are putting their mind and soul and heart into the product, trust me, it will be a better outcome, better results, and better ROI for the organization at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Could you share examples of international companies that apply design thinking in their product development process?
I want to tell you a story about that. And most of the time, I do actually share it with many of my trainings or coaching or speaking sessions. I was really impressed. I was invited as a speaker to PMI UAE chapter, and the topic was the marriage between design thinking and project management. And this marriage is based, on a reason. There are reasons behind it to really make this idea close to the minds of project managers and even product managers. What we tried to do is to actually bring them so many examples of so many companies who are applying it. And I shared, like, for example, I can share so many examples, and I tell you what's a big example that really touched my heart. So you can have, let's say, even Airbnb. Airbnb uses design thinking. They went and they just saw, because it started as a company that have these, they blow all these mats on the floor and they share houses, and it grew. And Airbnb, they had previously this lousy way of presenting the apartments. Even the pictures were not taken in a very professional way. And the people, when they see it, like a used bed, or it was really all around the place, and it wasn't really appealing to the user. That's why, maybe at that time it wasn't that profitable or known. But later on, by using design thinking, going to the field, going to the apartment itself, and because they wanted to really know what's going on, why we're not selling. And now you see how, it really shifted the whole equation. They went there to the apartments. They saw how it's being organized, and they saw, like, even the pictures were taken with the users or whatever, not in a professional setup. So it decreased the appeal, of these rooms. So by empathizing with the user, why they are not doing this, they even did interviews with the people on why they are not selecting Airbnb as their home destination, whatever, whenever they go. And they discovered, yeah, this is it. It's not appealing. So they changed the setup. They made it human. They put the user at the center. Instead of a star, they put a heart, for example. So they tried whatever possible to bring the user at the heart of what they do. And from the lens of the user, what's wrong, what was happening in a wrong way, they made it better and they enhanced it. Google uses design thinking. Even Apple uses design thinking. All these big companies, even Steve Jobs, who's my idol person, even in my company profile, I have Steve Jobs before my picture as a managing partner. So because he's an inspiration. And why did Apple succeed? From the very beginning, because it started by focusing on the vision of Apple. And the vision of Apple is based on the experience of the user. How does it feel like you? The iPhone, how easy and simple it is to use, and all this music and customization and all this ecosystem that it creates. And among so many companies, one company that really, really, really is a good example of design thinking is General Electric Healthcare. GE Healthcare, they had this engineer. His name is Doug Yates. And this industrial engineer, he was wanting to change things around because he was witnessing all these children with cancer. And how I presented in real life, I put a picture of a small little girl who has cancer and who went through this horrible experience, let alone having cancer. They have to go through this MRI machine because in GE Healthcare, they had all these healthcare center with all MRI that equally the adults and the children have to go through this machine in order to always do a scan of their bodies and brains and so on. And he witnessed how they were suffering from that. They cried along the way. So what he wanted, he went to IDEO. IDEO is a company at the heart, who created design thinking in the US, and he went there. He wanted to change, to shift the experience of those children with cancer. He went there, he studied design thinking, where you think outside the box. It's about mainly problem solving by putting the user at the heart. And that's what he did, Doug Yates. When he came back, he reimagined the experience of these children. And instead of only a simple MRI, he transformed it into a machine let's say, diving into the ocean, submarine, or boot camp, or any other, let's say, whatever pirate experience. And children, when they see this with little bit of this noise that I tried myself several times, it's really scary even for grown-ups. How about children coming through all this to experience pain? And then guess what? Although the intention was not to increase the ROI of GE General Electric Healthcare, it really increased the satisfaction of the patients, and it shifted and shaped the experience of the children having cancer. Now they wanted more, to always come to the center, to always do this diagnosis. Why I took my time into this? Because this is an example that you can understand how users can really, really have pain. And Doc Dietz, when they really did an interview with him, he cried while explaining why do children need to go through this horrible experience while we can create a good experience about that. They changed the experience from a bad experience to amazing experience that even made children want to go there. So this is how you put your heart, your mind, and soul into creating a product that is putting the user at the heart of it.
Absolutely. And it's like you'd said at the beginning that it is an iterative process where they kept going back to the drawing board and redesigning and reimagining the entire idea to make sure that it fits and revolves around the user.
Exactly. They
Absolutely.
tested it several times until it went right and it worked fine for the end user. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, during the process of teamwork and problem solving, how does design thinking promote innovation and team collaboration in project management?
Yes. Actually, in terms of creating solutions, there is not always one solution for everything, right? There are always several solutions. And by applying design thinking and putting the user at the heart of it, trust me, it will even intrigue like the innovative mind. You start coming with so many ideas, and at the heart of this process of design thinking, there is no wrong idea. All the ideas are correct, and every single idea might contribute to a better idea, to a bigger idea. And this will enhance collaboration because at the end of the day, you're not doing it alone. You're bringing all the teams together so that all these teams, everyone will build on each other's idea. And we do that sometimes in terms of activities as a mind mapping. So in mind mapping, what you do is you bring all the people together. You start with one small thing, like let's say a problem, or let's say building your company, or for example, finding a solution or leveraging on an opportunity, whatever that main thing is. Let's say it's a problem that we're trying to solve. So by applying design thinking and putting the user at the heart of that, you're bringing all the engaged people. We call them in project management the stakeholders or all the product owners. They are with you. And maybe you can start with an idea, and each and every other person, they will build on each and every other's idea. And they will enhance it further and further so that they will build a more innovative product or project. And in this innovation, the sky is your limit. So for example, in this product, you will have so many people, why we're saying collaboration. And this concept that I'm discussing is related to agile methodology in project management. In agile methodology, you have all the people together. All of them are leaders. There is no one single person who's imposing on other members. You do this, you do that, you assign this, you assign that. Especially in agile methodology in project management, you bring all the people and you see the solution from different perspectives. So for example, I'm going to give you a higher, broader way of understanding how this collaboration could happen. And this is based on the concept of leadership and followership. Sometimes when you're in a team, and all these teams are together and all of them are leaders, there is not a single person who comes in with an idea. Like all of them have different ideas, but sometimes they are specialized in different things. So for example, sometimes I give the example of NASA when you are on a mission to Mars, okay? And you have all these, let's say, engineers, let's say the agriculture who who's an amazing engineer who has succeeded in his domain, and then they studied, they became an astronaut. And for example, the mechanical engineer, they were as well were mechanical engineers. They have amazing experience, and they became astronauts. So if you think of all these engineers, all of these domains or different specializations, and then they became astronauts, and you go on a mission to Mars, let's say. So I'm putting like your mindset in a, let's say, extreme environment where you have all these people where they have to come up with something, come up with a solution. So here you learn how to be a follower as well, not only a leader. So I'm trying to shift the mind from one person implying the solution to several people working together to come up with a solution. Yes, you have many specializations, but you have different people sharing with you different ideas for a specific problem. So, for example, when there is a problem with the whatever spaceship, if we fast forward in the future, the mechanical engineer steps in and they are the leaders and everybody else is a follower. And if there is something with the soil or the samples you are extracting from Mars, let's say, you know, the agricultural or the archaeology or whatever engineers come into the light and they will suggest something, but you're not just following, you're just challenging, you know, those engineers into why we're doing this, why this is a solution, why we need to do that. The same thing, imagine it at a lower scale. You know, in big organizations, I have trained with, under PwC, with NEOM, with the Dir'iyya project, with Aldar, with DMT, like so many big mega project organizations. And we're trying to include design thinking into every project that they are doing. And we're trying to include or integrate the idea of followership and leadership and the idea of agile. So I think all of these concepts, they are intertwined together so that you have different ideas. They add up. Can you imagine the collaboration that could happen when all the teams are working together, each having a different specialization and putting the user with them at the heart of the solution and trying to create innovative solutions, going outside the norm, going outside outside the box, actually, and coming with crazy ideas, because we believe in the creativity of people. And if you want to talk about innovation, you know, I was invited as well to be a speaker in Dubai municipality under PMOGA collaboration with Hiba Shahi. Hello, Hiba, if she's watching me. So we talked as well on the impact of AI and technology and process engineering and data analytics in project management. And all of these require emotional intelligence. All of these require putting the user at the heart by applying design thinking. Because, you know, if we could just count on AI, it's very good at eliminating the repetitive jobs from the product owner or the project manager. They will facilitate their work. You will become a strategic person, right? Instead of doing all the dummy things, you know, you have a virtual assistant. I myself, I have We Grow Minds PMO advisor with all these questions that AI could answer by OpenAI or ChatGPT or any other AI tools or technologies. But what they cannot do, they cannot eliminate the creativity of people, because design thinking counts on the creative minds of people. And this is something I doubt that AI ever could do that. Because, you know, AI is based on all the input that you give it to the AI, you know, and then it replicates and it enhances it. It will increase efficiency, effectiveness. But this creativity, come up with something really new, it requires a human brain to do it. And it requires the collaboration of all these people together to see all the aspects of that product or project so that they come up with innovative solutions.
Absolutely. It's extremely astutely put, ma'am. Thank you. Finally, how has design thinking evolved in recent years, especially with technological advancements, and how does this impact both project management and product development?
Actually, it did evolve, and you always require tools and technology, but we shouldn't forget people. So it's all about people, processes, technology all the time. With all these technological advancements and design thinking, for example, could enhance communication, enhance collaboration with. For example, you might have teams that are virtual teams from different parts in the globe. And, technology can bring you together. So having these tools and so on. But it cannot eliminate like the aspects of the human being and the physical interaction. But yes, it could help in different situations. How it has evolved, actually, at least it hasn't disappeared. Because sometimes, with the trend, many jobs are gonna disappear, many concepts are gonna disappear. And we are there. We're not like waiting for it to happen. It already happened. And for that, I believe design thinking will never disappear. You will never like remove or eliminate the user from the whole equation. You really need them at the heart of what you do. You really need them with you. Maybe it could automate the process, but by maybe having more approval, faster efficiency. Let's say if you have a prototype, you actually show it to the user, you actually test it with the user. But maybe if it's, let's say, an information system, you can have it there ready for the user to test it. It can, let's say, AI can get you all the risks that could happen on the project or all the different elements of testing, but it cannot eliminate the presence of the user to do it. So yes, it will facilitate, it will continue on evolving. And yeah, maybe Sam Altman can surprise us, and whenever they talk about generative AI, where they start creating things from scratch. And yeah, we might be there, but it doesn't mean we're eliminating the user from the heart of the equation. So, on the 6th of November, Sam Altman went on stage, and he shared all these breakthrough technologies. So instead of ChatGPT just accepting text, now it's accepting uploading of documents, 300 pages. It analyzes it in fractions of seconds. Yeah, it would help the human beings to better understand these results, but to share these results. But you really need people to be upskilled enough, which is the power of universities, training center, to upskill those people to be able to use these technologies. So in these breakthrough technologies as well, they shared how DALL-E, for example, they can draw you a picture from scratch. Let's say if I tell you what's the future of design thinking, and the role of project managers and product managers, they will draw you a picture that you can never see on Google. Yes, it does that, but will it be able to eliminate the human factor? We're not going to go to the Matrix movie, but it is scary to go there. I don't want to go there, and nobody wants to go there. Having the human element, having the user engaged with you while generating results, while producing a product, while creating a service for the end user, they have to be there. They have to be there. It's a must. And I can't imagine a world without a user in it, in that process.
Absolutely. It's amazing to hear that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there you have it. In a globalized and mechanical world, we need to learn how to add the human element. And we hope today's episode has helped our listeners take a step in the right direction. Thank you so much for your time today, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lincoln University, all the
Absolutely.
team. You're amazing. You're so professional.
To our listeners, if you would like to share your own experiences or ask questions, feel free to reach out to us on LUBM Middle East on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and we can continue the conversation online. Until next time, I've been Aman Iqbal Ibrahim, and keep learning with Smart Talks, powered by Lincoln University of Business Management. Thank you, and have a great day ahead.